think there are pigeons who fly 4 or 5 years very good.
No.
I don't need the ones who are flying prices.
No.
I am searching for top pigeons.
Yeah, because you said even the fond players, they don't play them as young pigeons and yearlings. They're playing 2, 3 year old and maybe 4 year olds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even though they're playing with old pigeons, their engine's relatively fresh.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned earlier you use a lot of tea on your young pigeons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How many times a week will you give the pigeons tea?
3-4 days.
3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
We'll have a talk about the tea and other products you use when we'll look at the feeding. We'll take a look around the loft now. Is there anything else you would do to motivate these pigeons, or do they just motivate themselves?
They motivate themselves.
They motivate themselves. Yeah. Exercising twice a day, once a day?
Yeah, twice a day.
And how long?
When they are not on nest, once a day.
Once a day, yeah.
When they are, then I am at the home. From July I am at the home.
Yeah.
Then they exercise 2 times. In the morning the cocks, in the evening the hens, because the hens are in the morning on the nest.
Yeah. So you only put the cocks out then in the morning.
I put. They can go. Everyone who wants to go outside can go outside.
Yeah. Will you force them to fly with a flag?
In the beginning of the season, yes.
Yes.
But they know it.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but they know when they are going out, they must fly for 1 hour.
Yeah. Are the traps closed when the pigeons are out flying? They're closed, yeah. So they can't get back in the loft anyway.
They can't come back. No.
Yeah. So you'll come down in the loft in the morning, open the traps. The birds know that it's time for exercise. When whichever birds have gone out, which wish to go out, then the traps are closed.
Yep.
1 hour's exercise. Yep. And then the same in the evening.
Yep.
Yeah. Feeding the pigeons, how many times will you feed the pigeons?
2 times.
2 times a day.
After they have flight.
Yeah. And when you take the pigeons for basketing at the club, what day will you take the birds to the clubhouse for basketing on the flights you play on?
For the 400, 500 kilometers, Thursday evening.
Yeah.
And the 300 kilometers, it's Friday evening.
Yeah.
And they're coming back on Saturday.
The young pigeon loft, Freddy, it's very spacious. It's very roomy for a young pigeon loft. Some young pigeon lofts, they like them close so they're on top of the pigeons. Yeah. Yours is very roomy. How deep is this
It's
section?
3 meters.
3
and
meters,
you have a corridor from 1 meter.
From 1 meter, so it's 4 meters deep.
Yeah.
And up to the ceiling is just 2 meters. But from the ceiling up to the top of the roof, you have a space of maybe 1.8 meters.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. But outside the loft and along the back, there's no ventilation.
There is no ventilation. I hate it.
You hate ventilation.
Yeah.
Why? Do you not? I mean, don't get me wrong. You can't smell pigeons in here. It's perfectly dry.
Yeah.
So, tell me what your reasons are for not liking ventilation or air on a pigeon loft.
I think it's not good for the pigeons to be in the ventilation. And when I have more hair, like you, it wasn't a problem for me. But now, I feel it on my head when there is ventilation. And I think for the pigeons it's no good to be in the ventilation.
You don't want no air, no draft, shall we say. You don't want the draft on the pigeons. No, drafts are bad for pigeons, but normally we see people with vents on the front of the loft, vents coming in here, chimneys, electronic ventilators. There's nothing here, is there? But what about the days when sometimes now the temperatures are reaching 32 degrees? Doesn't bother you?
No. And it don't bother the pigeons either.
Doesn't bother the pigeons either.
Why putting here a ventilation and make that it's here when it's 30 degrees outside and it's here then 25 degrees? What's the difference from 5 degrees?
Yeah.
And when we are basketing them, they are going in the
truck,
in the trucks, and there it's 60 degrees, 50 degrees under the
under the canopy. Yeah.
So
the walls of the loft, are they insulated? Outside it's plastic. Yeah.
Inside it's wood, and
just
between
wood.
Nothing.
There's nothing. And how much space are there between the outside wall and the inside wall?
10 centimeters.
10 centimeters.
Something like that. 8. Let's say 8, 8, 9.
On the floor there's straw. Well, there's more straw in here than you find in some farmers' hay-barns. How deep is the straw?
10 centimeters.
10 centimetres deep. Under this straw there are grills.
Yeah.
Between the grills and the floor, is there any airspace or?
No.
No, they're directly onto the
They are
floor
on a little bit of straw,
Yeah.
then the grills, and then I put on every 14 days another
layer of straw, yeah. Every 14 days a fresh layer of straw. Do you take any straw out? Or?
No.
Because this straw, it's not dirty. There's no piles of droppings anywhere.
Because you have not as many pigeons
Yeah.
on the loft, and it's a very big loft. That's the reason.
Yeah. Yeah, you told me earlier you used to keep a lot of youngsters. Now you don't keep so many. How many youngsters will you
80
start?
now.
80 youngsters, yeah. And that's enough, yeah. And how long is the loft? Because it's 4 metres deep and the length?
13 meters.
13 metres and only 80 young pigeons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With some old hens.
The perches in the loft, Freddy, although there are plenty of spaces for the birds to make a nest, find their own place, they're not very deep. They're only 6 inches, say 13 centimetres from front to back, yeah?
Yep.
Normally we see very deep perches. These are only shallow. This, I understand, is to prevent them coupling early on, yeah? Yeah?
That's the only reason.
That's the
And
only
I
reason.
am then very close to the pigeons. When I walk through my loft,
Yeah.
they can't go inside.
Inside, no.
Yeah.
You want them to be close to
Yeah.
you. And you clean the perches twice a day, yeah?
Yeah.
When the birds are out, yeah. It's not just been cleaned out for us coming today, no?
No.
It's always clean, yeah?
It's always...
Because, again, with young pigeons, some fanciers don't clean the young pigeon loft. You know, some fanciers never clean the sitters, they don't clean the floor, they leave...
Let's say I'm a cleaner.
You're a cleaner?
Yep.
Yeah.
I like more cleaning the lofts than going to the club and talking with people.
Yeah. So those that don't clean the lofts, like myself, we're lazy fanciers, eh?
I don't know, but
No.
I like to do that.
Yeah, you'd rather be
That's
in
my
there with the
life.
pigeons. Yeah, yeah.
On the breeding loft, we have wooden grills
Yeah,
in the summer, not in the winter.
Not
in the winter, I remove them all
Yeah.
and I clean all the thing.
clean it all, yeah.
I have, I think, 150 quadrat meters. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah, 150 metres, yeah.
In the winter
Square
time,
metres, yeah.
yeah, and I clean it all.
All,
When the youngsters are coming here, there is no straw on the floor
yeah,
until they fly into the little boxes.
Yeah.
Then I put
So
straw
as
on
soon
the
as the
floor.
pigeons start going up to the
Yeah.
perches, that's when this straw comes in
Yeah.
the loft. Because every loft has a drain plug, I believe. For when you're washing out
Yep.
the lofts, you have a drain, yeah? You just wash them once at the end of the season,
Yeah.
yeah, and then you use a torch to clean the loft, yeah. Young pigeons, while we're talking about the young pigeons, before we talk about the food, coli, E. coli, yeah? Young bird sickness, as they call it in the UK.
Yep.
Do you experience any problems with the young bird sickness, coli?
Yeah, every time. Every
time.
year.
Every year.
Yeah. And when there were more youngsters on the loft, I had it twice a year.
Yeah. Why do you think we're experiencing young bird sickness, as we call it, coli? Why are we experiencing this coli? Because 20 years ago, definitely in the UK, there was no coli. Pigeons weren't being sick, or...
I think there are too many pigeons in the loft, and with the darkness,
The darkness.
Yeah.
You really put it down to the darkness. And
something,
too
yeah.
many pigeons in the loft.
And more. This year there were less pigeons in the loft. I have less problems with the coli.
Coli, yeah. And what will you do when the problem arises? I mean, this E. coli or young bird sickness, a lot of people get it. Some people say they have wet droppings. Some people say the birds are being sick, vomiting. What are your experience with coli? Are they being sick?
They are sick. They
bad
are
droppings?
putting back their
Food, yeah.
food, and they have bad drops.
Bad droppings. So what will you do? What is your system when you see the pigeons in this condition?
When there are many of them, I tried. I give them Lugol.
Lugols.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lugols of iodine, yeah? That you mix with milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lugols, yeah?
most of the time it don't work.
Right, yeah.
But it's cleaning their
Their intestines, the system, yeah.
the system. And when there are more of them, I do nothing. I give electrolytes.
Electrolytes, yeah.
Yes, then, and I do nothing.
You do nothing.
When it's mostly it's going better after 3-4 days. When it's not going better with the electrolytes,
yeah.
after 2-3 days I give medication.
Yeah.
That's
But first you see if the pigeons...
I try to let them make a natural
resistance,
yeah.
Yeah. And if you do, and I stress if you do have to give medication, what's your choice of medication when the pigeons are in that situation?
It's something from the vet.
Something from the vet. You always visit your veterinary, yeah. Is he a local veterinary?
It's
in
a
the
local
village?
veterinary,
Local veterinary, yeah. Unfortunately, in England, we don't have veterinaries that specialise with the pigeons.
No.
So we're okay with a cat and a dog, but when you have a pigeon, they have a problem. And how many compartments are there in this loft, Freddie?
3.
3 compartments, yeah? And 60 boxes, you said, yeah?
Yep.
20 boxes in each compartment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how many hens will you start with then? Because at the moment, there's more empty boxes than full boxes.
Yeah. With 40-50 hens.
40 and 50 hens.
Between that, yeah.
Between that, yeah. And you don't play widowhood cocks at all, you
No.
only play the hens.
Only the hens.
Yeah. So do you only enter the hens in races against hens, or can you play your hens against the cocks as well?
Also against the cocks, yeah.
Also against the cocks, yeah. Are you not at a disadvantage by racing hens against widowhood cocks, especially in Belgium, you know, where widowhood was born? No?
No.
You're at no disadvantage?
No.
You've proved that, yeah? Your system's proved that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you prefer, is there a reason why you prefer widowhood hens to widowhood cocks?
No.
There's no reason?
There's no reason. Only the reason I played hens now is I started with hens and cocks.
Yeah.
And I only play it 1 year, and because I have less time I have to choose one discipline.
Yeah.
And the hens were better at that moment, so that's the reason why I played.
So your hens was playing better
Yeah.
than your cocks were, so you chose to go down the road of playing with the hens. When you say you was playing with hens and cocks at that time, did they have separate mates, like separate hens for the cocks? Or yeah, they had separate mates, and so it was an even thing. It wasn't a matter of a cock returning and his hen was still away on the flight. No. So your system with hens, when do you start with your hens?
To couple them?
Yeah, the season for the hens start, yeah.
The coupling is middle of December.
Middle of December, yeah.
So they have youngsters.
Youngsters,
End of January, beginning of February.
Yeah.
When the youngsters are gone, they stayed alone in the loft here.
When will you take the youngsters away? How old will the youngsters be, or do you watch for the second egg, or are the cocks taken away?
No, I tried that they don't lag another time.
Yeah.
At that moment, I put away the cocks, and the hen stays here with the youngsters.
Yeah.
And when the youngsters are 17, 18, 19 days, I put them all on the ground, and all the hens are feeding all the youngsters, and they start to eat. And when they are 23-4 days, I put them on the youngsters.
Yeah. There's no straw in this loft at the moment. Is there any straw in it when you're racing?
No.
No straw.
No straw.
In the boxes. And the hens, are they sitting on the front of the boxes, or are they always locked up in the boxes?
In the middle season, when they are not raced, they are before the boxes.
Yeah. And then once they start to race, they're always in the boxes.
Yeah. But I recouple them end of March, so that they can start the racing season, the short distance races, as training on a youngster.
Yeah.
and I play them the first time when the youngster is 18, 19 days, when they return from...
When is this first race?
End of April, beginning of May.
End of April, beginning of May.
Something like that, yeah.
And the distance is?
For me then, when I started to play, it's 300 kilometers.
300 kilometers,
and on the shorter distance race, they go as training.
Yeah. And will these have any training tosses with the car prior to the season start?
Same distance as the youngsters.
Same as the youngsters, yeah.
But not as much.
Not as much.
Let's say 2, 3, 4 times, and it's done.
So they have the first race on a youngster.
Yep.
And then what happens there then? How old is this youngster?
When the youngster is 17, 18, 19 days,
yeah.
I basket them, and when they return, the youngster is gone away, and the cock is sitting in the place.
Yeah. And for the first race, how long is the cock waiting for the hen for?
When they return, an hour.
An hour.
It don't matter.
It doesn't matter?
No. I don't have really a time for it. It isn't so that in the beginning of the season it's shorter and at the end longer. No, it's 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. It depends from when I must basket, for example, the youngsters. Then they stay longer. Yeah. Because I'm away at Saturday.
Yeah, yeah. So going through the week then, on a Saturday, the hens return from the flight.
Yep.
They're left with the cocks maybe 1 hour, 2 hours,
2
depending on when you've got to basket.
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
What is the system from that point with these hens until they go in the baskets for the next flight?
They stay locked.
Locked in the boxes.
And not on Sunday, but certainly on Sunday evening, they have their first training
flight around the loft.
Around the loft.
Yeah, we say training flight, but that's training around the loft.
Yep.
Yep.
And they do that every day in the morning and the evening.
Yeah.
And they come in, and then they get their feed.
Yeah. And Friday when it's basketing day, or Thursday as some days may be. Yeah. What is the system when you're basketing? Are they given a cock?
Yeah.
Or just
so they receive their food in the morning when I basket on Tuesday evening, and when it's noon they get their food from the evening. So they have eaten a lot of, and then they receive their cock for 20 minutes and half hour, an hour. It don't matter.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
No, it don't matter.
Are you looking to see anything? Some people say when they're racing cocks, they want.
Yeah, that's something different.
Something different. Yeah.
I think that's something. But I give them their cocks. I'm going to eat myself, and then I put them in the baskets and I go to the club. So they stayed here for 20 minutes, an hour, an hour. It depends.
Yeah, yeah. And these boxes, the boxes have got bob wires on the front where the hen's sitting. Yeah. When the hen returns, she just goes straight in and locks herself in. Yeah.
When she's for the flying around the loft, yeah.
Yeah. So they come. They all go. Do they all go immediately to the box, or do you have to coax them up on the boxes? Or?
I learn it.
You learn it.
Yeah. When they are yearling, they don't know the system. So I train them. When I am racing the hens, they are locked in the boxes. So before the boxes there is a pot with feed and grit. And I have also pot with water in it. So when the first time, this is locked, but the first time they came in after training around the loft, I put some small corn in it so they can enter free. After a week time, they know when they come in, they must go for the little feed they like into the box, and then I close it when they come in. I open this. So I put some mice after it. And because they are hungry and they know there is feed there, they go inside, they try several times here, but after 2-3 times they know they have to go inside. And afterwards I can lock this, so I can go to home my loft. When I know that, I put the feet into the box. They go inside and they can eat. So I put the feet before they came in. One hen in one boxes, and afterwards I lock it down. So another hen cannot go inside. And they stay there for the rest of the day.
At the start of the season then, Freddie, you said you started with 40, 50 hens.
Yep.
They've had 14 races and there's now 17 hens on the loft. Now, I know you've not lost these hens on the flights.
No.
How do you select these hens, you know, to get down to the number you've got now ready for next year?
First, when they get on widowhood ship.
Yeah, widowhood, yeah.
Widowhood. In about 3 or 4 weeks, there are 10 who don't accept the system.
Yeah.
So these are removed, and then every race I take the two bad ones
away. Yeah. So not every hen is suited to racing on the widowhood system.
No.
Then,
Certainly not.
What do you look for in a good widowhood hen then, apart from top prizes? You know,
that's just calm.
Calm.
Just not
nervous.
jumping every time.
Yeah, because your hens are locked in these boxes 24/7, apart from when they're on the races. Yeah. So you're looking for a calm hen.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So some hens are taken out because they don't make, and then as the flights progress, those that are making the worst prizes, they're away.
Yeah.
Yeah. You only race the hens as yearlings. Do you have any 2-year-old hens in the side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have 2. Yeah.
Yeah. How many out of the 40, 50 hens you start with? How many will you race as 2-year-olds?
Now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. From 7 who are 2 years old.
Yeah. So this
now.
year you started with 7. You won't race